The silver ship drifted through the cold darkness between Mars and Jupiter. Inside the ship, 12 different types of alien beings sat around a glowing table. They had traveled far from their home worlds to reach this small yellow star, and the third planet that circled it. Dr. Zeftai pressed his long fingers against the smooth surface of the viewing screen. His blue skin caught the light from the screen as he watched the small blue and green planet below. Earth, the humans called it. Such a simple name for what they had found. "Another primitive world," said Commander Valthara, her voice making a soft clicking sound through her breathing mask. "They fight each other constantly. Look at these readings. Wars everywhere. Pollution choking their atmosphere. They will probably destroy themselves within a few hundred years." Zeftai did not answer right away. He had been studying humans for 3 months now, since their ship arrived in this system. The Kethver Collective had been doing this work for over 2,000 years. They found young civilizations and watched them grow. Most species either killed themselves or learned to live in peace. The peaceful ones eventually joined the collective. The others became cautionary tales, but humans were different somehow. "Sir," called Technician Mordek from his station. "The observation drones are in position. We can monitor their entire planet without them knowing we are here." "Good," said Commander Valthara. "Begin standard observation protocols. I want full reports on their technology levels, social structures, and potential for advancement." The other council members began talking among themselves. Representative Quintal from the peaceful world spoke first. "Based on initial scans, they appear to be a standard Class 3 civilization. Violent, divided, but showing signs of early space exploration. Their technology is crude," added Chief Scientist Rothmo. "Chemical rockets, primitive electronics, basic nuclear weapons. Nothing we have not seen before from dozens of other species." Zeftai continued watching the screen. The drones were sending back images from all over the planet. Cities full of millions of humans. Vast oceans with ships crossing them. Flying machines moving through the sky. But what caught his attention were the smaller things. A human female feeding birds in a park. A human male carrying an injured animal to safety. Human children playing together despite having different colored skin. "Dr. Zeftai," Commander Valthara said, "you have been unusually quiet. What are your thoughts on this species?" Zeftai turned away from the screen. Around the table sat representatives from 12 different worlds. The Kethver with their blue skin and long limbs. The Mordek with their thick shells and 4 arms. The Quintal who looked like walking plants with golden leaves. All peaceful species who had learned to work together after centuries of growth and wisdom. "They are contradictory," Zeftai said slowly. "I have watched them for months now. In the same day, I have seen them commit acts of terrible violence and incredible kindness. They destroy their environment, yet some of them work desperately to save it. They wage war, yet they also create beautiful art and music. All primitive species show such contradictions," said Representative Nalseth from the deep ocean worlds. "They grow out of it eventually, or they do not, and they perish." "Perhaps," Zeftai said, "but there is something else. They adapt very quickly, faster than any species we have observed before. In just the past 50 years of their time, they have gone from basic flight to reaching their moon. Their technology grows at an incredible rate." Commander Valthara made a dismissive gesture with her 4 hands. "Rapid advancement often leads to rapid destruction. They will likely invent something that kills them all before they learn wisdom." The council continued their discussion, but Zeftai returned to watching the screens. The drones were invisible to human detection, using technology far beyond what Earth possessed. They could observe every human city, every military base, every scientific laboratory without being noticed on the screen. He watched a group of human scientists working in what appeared to be a research facility. They were studying something he could not identify from the drone's angle. One of the humans, a female with dark hair, suddenly looked up directly at the camera. For a moment, HFY felt as though she was looking right at him through the screen. Impossible, of course. The drones were completely undetectable. The human female said something to her colleagues and pointed in the direction of the drone. Several other humans gathered around a computer screen and began typing rapidly. HFY leaned forward, interested. "Technician Mordek," he called. "Are you certain our observation drones cannot be detected by their technology?" "Absolutely certain, sir," Mordek replied without looking up from his instruments. "Our cloaking technology is thousands of years ahead of anything they possess. To them, our drones simply do not exist." But on the screen, the group of human scientists continued to stare in the drone's direction. The female with dark hair was now speaking rapidly to the others while pointing at their computer. HFY watched as they began setting up some kind of equipment pointed directly at the drone's position. "Most interesting," he whispered to himself. Over the following days, HFY noticed more unusual behavior. Human military exercises seemed more organized than before. Their space program announced several new missions. Scientists around their world began publishing research papers about theoretical physics that seemed surprisingly advanced for their level of development. But whenever HFY brought these observations to the council, they dismissed his concerns. "You are seeing patterns where none exist," Commander Valthara told him after his third report. "This is what happens when observers become too invested in their subjects. You must maintain scientific objectivity." Perhaps the commander is right, HFY thought. Perhaps I am imagining things. But late at night, when the rest of the crew slept, HFY would return to the observation screens. He would watch the humans going about their daily lives. And he could not shake the feeling that something was different about this species, something that made them far more dangerous than they appeared. 50 years had passed since the HFY collective arrived in Earth's solar system. Dr. HFY had grown old watching the humans, his blue skin now darker with age. But his fascination with the strange species had only grown stronger. The humans had changed dramatically during those 5 decades. Their technology had advanced at a rate that shocked even the most experienced observers in the collective. They had built space stations, sent probes to distant planets, and developed computers that could think almost as fast as a HFY brain. "Look at these latest readings," HFY said to his assistant, a young Mordak named Crystal. "They have developed something called quantum computing. This should have taken them at least another century to discover." Crystal studied the data with his 4 eyes. "Perhaps they are naturally more intelligent than we first believed. Or perhaps," HFY said quietly, "they are getting help." On Earth, Dr. Sarah Chun stood in a hidden laboratory deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. The facility did not exist on any government map. The people who worked there had been carefully chosen from the brightest minds across the planet. They came from every country, every background, united by one single purpose. They knew about the Watchers. "The quantum resonance detector is picking up another signal," said Dr. James Peterson, a tall man with gray hair who had once worked for NASA. "Same pattern as before. Definitely artificial, definitely not from Earth." Sarah nodded as she studied the readings on her screen. For 20 years, she had been tracking the strange signals that appeared whenever something unusual happened on Earth. At first, she thought they might be from secret military satellites. But the technology behind the signals was far too advanced. Breakthrough had come 15 years ago when her team detected the actual objects creating the signals. They were small, invisible to normal sensors, but her quantum detectors could find them. They moved like nothing humans had ever built, appearing and disappearing at will, always watching, always recording. "Dr. Chun," called Dr. Yuki Tanaka from across the laboratory. The Moscow team is reporting similar readings. Whatever is watching us, it has coverage of the entire planet. Sarah walked to the main display screen where a map of Earth showed hundreds of red dots. Each dot represented a detection of one of the mysterious watchers. They were everywhere. Over cities, military bases, research facilities, even remote areas where humans rarely went. "Have you made contact with the other teams?" Sarah asked. "Yes," replied Dr. Peterson. "Beijing, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, they are all ready. The network is complete." Sarah looked around the laboratory at the 30 men and women who had dedicated their lives to this project. They represented a secret alliance that spanned the globe. Scientists, engineers, former military officers, computer experts, all working together without their governments knowing. All preparing for the day when Earth's watchers revealed themselves. "Any word from the orbital stations?" Sarah asked Dr. Martinez, a woman with dark hair who had once designed satellites, looked up from her console. "Station Alpha reports all systems ready. Station Beta is still making final adjustments, but they will be ready within the week." The orbital stations were humanity's greatest secret. To the rest of the world, they were research platforms studying climate change in space. Weather. In reality, they were something far more dangerous. Each station contained technology that should not have existed for another 100 years. Technology that had been developed by studying the energy signatures of their mysterious watchers. "What about the new detection grid?" Sarah asked. "Online and functioning perfectly," said Dr. Petrov, a Russian physicist who had once worked on nuclear weapons. "We can now track their observation devices in real time across the entire planet." Sarah smiled. The detection grid was her proudest achievement. Thousands of quantum sensors hidden in cities around the world, disguised as cell phone towers and weather stations. To any outside observer, they looked like normal human infrastructure. But together, they formed a network that could see things that were supposed to be invisible. On the Kefir observation ship, Dr. Zeftai was troubled by what he was seeing. The humans were advancing too quickly in very specific areas. Their understanding of quantum physics had jumped forward by decades in just a few years. Their space program was launching more satellites than ever before, and some of them had capabilities that seemed far beyond human technology. "Commander Velfara," he said during the daily briefing, "I believe we should consider the possibility that the humans are aware of our presence." The commander's 4 eyes focused on him with annoyance. "Doctor, we have had this discussion many times over the years. Our technology is undetectable to their primitive sensors." "But look at these patterns," Zeftai insisted, bringing up displays on the main screen. "Their military exercises have become far more coordinated. Their research programs are focusing on exactly the types of technology they would need to detect us. And look at this." He showed them recent images from Earth, in dozens of locations. Around the planet, humans were building structures that looked like communication arrays. But the energy signatures were wrong. They were not designed for human-to-human communication. "What do you think those are for?" asked Representative Quintal. "I believe they are trying to detect us," Zeftai said. "And I believe they may have succeeded." The council chamber fell silent. The idea that a primitive species could detect their advanced surveillance technology was almost unthinkable. "Impossible," said Chief Scientist Rathmo. "Our cloaking technology has never failed. No species ever detected our observation drones before achieving faster-than-light travel themselves." "Then explain their behavior," Zeftai said. "Explain why their technology is advancing so rapidly. Explain why they are building detection arrays. Explain why their space program has suddenly become so interested in the asteroid belt, exactly where our ship is hidden." Commander Velthara stood up, her tall form casting a shadow across the table. Even if they suspect something, they cannot harm us. We are completely safe here. But as she spoke, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Technician Mordak's voice came over the communication system, filled with panic. Commander, we are detecting multiple energy signatures approaching our position. Fast-moving objects, origin point Earth. They will reach us in less than 1 hour. Dr. Zeftai felt his blood grow cold. The humans were no longer just watching them back. The humans were coming. The approaching objects from Earth turned out to be small probes, not weapons. They moved through space with impossible grace, using technology that made even the Kethver engineers nervous. When the probes reached the alien ship, they simply stopped and waited, as if they were politely asking for permission to speak. Commander Velthara stared at the display screen in disbelief. The human probes had found their cloaked ship hidden among the asteroids. Worse, they had approached without showing any signs of fear or aggression. They were acting like they had been expecting this moment. How did they find us? Chief Scientist Rafno asked, his voice shaking. Dr. Zeftai studied the readings from the human probes. These energy signatures are based on our own technology. They have been studying us, learning from us, just as we have been studying them. Impossible, Commander Velthara said. We take every precaution to remain hidden. Do we? Zeftai asked. Or have we become careless after thousands of years? OF success? Have we forgotten that intelligence can exist in many forms? Before anyone could answer, the ship's communication system activated. A message was coming from one of the human probes. The voice that spoke was calm, confident, and spoke perfect Kethver language. Greetings, observers of the Kethver Collective. This is Dr. Sarah Chun of Earth. We know you have been watching us for 50 years. We have been watching you in return. We request a meeting to discuss our mutual future. The council chamber erupted in shocked voices. Representative Quintal fell back in her chair. Technician Mordak dropped his instruments. Even Commander Velthara seemed unable to speak. They learned our language, Chief Scientist Rathmo whispered. How did they learn our language? Dr. Zeftai felt a mixture of fear and admiration. The same way we learned theirs, by listening. On Earth, Dr. Sarah Chun stood in the main command center of the underground facility. Around her, dozens of screens showed the alien ship hidden among the asteroids. After 50 years of preparation, humanity was finally ready to reveal what they had accomplished. Double quotes, Dr. Chun, said Dr. Peterson. We are receiving a response from the alien vessel. The voice that came through the speakers was careful and measured. It belonged to Dr. Zeftai, though Sarah did not know his name yet. Dr. Chun of Earth, I am surprised by your capabilities. How long have you known about our presence? Sarah smiled. Longer than you might think. We have been tracking your observation drones for over 20 years. We have been studying your technology, your language, your behavior patterns. We know about your collective. We know about your mission to observe primitive civilizations. There was a long pause before the alien voice responded. If you have known about us for so long, why did you not contact us before now? Because we're not ready, Sarah said simply. We needed time to understand you. We needed time to prepare. We needed time to become equals rather than subjects. In the alien ship, Dr. Zeftai turned to Commander Velthara. I recommend we agree to meet with them. This situation is unprecedented, but it could be valuable for our research. Commander Velthara was still staring at the communication console in shock. Meet with them? They are a primitive species. We observe them. We do not negotiate with them. Are they still primitive? Dr. Zeftai asked. They found our cloaked ship. They learned our language. They built technology that can track our drones. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our classification of humanity. The meeting took place on one of the human space stations that orbited Earth. Dr. Zeftai and a small diplomatic team transported to the station, expecting to find crude facilities and primitive technology. Instead, they found a sophisticated installation that rivaled anything in the Kefver collective. Dr. Sarah Chun met them at the docking bay. She was a small woman with graying hair and intelligent eyes that seemed to see everything. Behind her stood representatives from every major nation on Earth, as well as scientists and military officers that Sci-Fi recognized from their long observation. "Welcome to Earth Station Alpha," Sarah said in perfect Kefvar. "We have been looking forward to this meeting for a very long time." As they toured the station, Dr. Zeftai was amazed by what he saw. The humans had developed artificial gravity, advanced life support systems, and computer networks that operated faster than anything the collective used. In 50 years, they had advanced centuries beyond what should have been possible. "How did you accomplish all this?" he asked Sarah as they walked through a laboratory filled with technology he did not recognize. "We had good teachers," Sarah replied. "Your observation drones left traces of energy that we could study. Your ship's engine signatures taught us about advanced propulsion. Every time you scanned our planet, you gave us a little more information about how your technology worked." Dr. Zeftai stopped walking. "You reverse engineered our technology from the traces we left behind." "Not just reverse engineered," said Dr. Martinez, who had joined them. "We improved it. Human minds work differently than yours. We see problems from angles you might not consider. We take risks you would avoid. We adapt faster than you ever expected." The formal meeting took place in a conference room that could have belonged on any collective world. The humans had prepared carefully, with translators and cultural advisors who understood Kefver customs better than some collective members. Dr. Zeftai presented the standard offer that the collective made to all developing civilizations. "Humanity has shown impressive development. The collective is prepared to offer you guidance and protection as you continue to grow. In exchange, you would agree to follow certain guidelines that promote peace and stability." Sarah Chun listened politely, but her response was not what any of the aliens expected. "Thank you for your offer," she said, "but we must decline." Commander Velthara leaned forward. "Decline? Do you understand what we are offering? Membership in a galactic civilization, access to technologies beyond your imagination, peace and prosperity for your entire species." "We understand," Sarah said calmly. "But we have studied your collective carefully over the past 50 years. We have seen how you operate. You do not offer partnership, you offer submission. You do not guide civilizations, you control them." The aliens exchanged worried glances. Dr. Zeftai felt a chill run through his body. "Your member species all follow the same patterns," Sarah continued. "The same technologies, the same social structures, the same peaceful compliance. You have not created a collective of diverse civilizations. You have created a collection of copies. Our system has brought peace to the galaxy for thousands of years," Representative Quintal protested. "Your system has brought stagnation," Sarah replied. "And humanity is not interested in becoming another peaceful, compliant member of your collection." Commander Velthara stood up, her voice turning cold. "Then you force us to consider other options. Civilizations that refuse our guidance and continue on dangerous paths must be corrected for the good of all." Sarah Chun smiled, and Dr. Zeftai suddenly realized that this entire meeting had been planned by the humans down to the smallest detail. They had wanted the collective to make exactly this threat. "Commander," Sarah said, "I think you misunderstand the situation. You are not here to offer us choices. You are here because we allowed you to come. This meeting is not a negotiation. It is a warning." The room fell silent as the implications of her words sank in. "Humanity has been preparing for this day for 50 years, Sarah continued. We know everything about your ships, your weapons, your technology. We know the locations of your other observation posts. We know the weaknesses in your defenses that you do not even know exist. Dr. Zeftai realized with growing horror that they had walked into a trap. The humans had not contacted them to ask for help or guidance. They had contacted them to deliver an ultimatum. Commander Valthara's 4 hands slammed down on the conference table. Her voice filled with anger as she spoke. You dare threaten the Kethver Collective? We have destroyed civilizations that refused our guidance before. We can do it again. Doctor. Sarah Chun remained perfectly calm. She touched a small device on her wrist, and the conference room's windows became transparent, showing the space around Earth Station Alpha. What the aliens saw made their blood freeze. Hundreds of human ships surrounded them. Not the crude chemical rockets they had observed for decades, but sleek vessels that moved with impossible speed and grace. The ships used technology that looked disturbingly similar to collective designs, but somehow more advanced. As I said, Commander, Sarah spoke quietly, you misunderstand the situation. Dr. Zeftai stared at the fleet of human ships in disbelief. Where did all these come from? Our sensors showed no signs of such a large fleet. Your sensors see what we want them to see, said Dr. Martinez, who had joined the meeting. We have been studying your detection systems for 50 years. We know exactly how to hide from them. Commander Valthara activated her emergency communicator to contact the Kethver ship. Command vessel, prepare all weapons. Target the human space station. The response came back immediately, but it was not what she expected. Commander, our weapon systems are not responding. All of our computer networks are experiencing massive failures. On the screens around the conference room, the aliens could see their own ship floating helplessly among the asteroids. Its engines were dark, its weapons offline, its communication systems flickering in and out of operation. How? Chief Scientist Rathmo whispered. Sarah Chun smiled. While you were watching us, we were learning about your computer systems. Every scan you made of our planet, every communication between your ship and your drones, every data transfer, gave us more information about how your technology worked. Dr. Peterson stepped forward with a tablet in his hands. 3 days ago, we uploaded a quantum virus into your ship's systems. It has been spreading through your networks ever since, mapping your defenses, learning your passwords, taking control of your critical systems. But our computer security is unbreakable, Representative Quintal said. No species has ever successfully attacked our networks. No species has ever tried, Dr. Martinez replied. You have been so successful for so long that you forgot to prepare for real opposition. Your security systems are designed to stop the kind of attacks you expect, not the kind we can deliver. Commander Valthara tried her communicator again. Contact the collective home worlds. Send a distress signal. Tell them we need immediate military assistance. But the response was even worse than before. Commander, we cannot contact the home worlds. We cannot contact anyone. All of our long-range communication systems have been disabled. Dr. Zeftai felt a growing sense of dread. You have isolated us completely. Not just you, Sarah said. Every collective observation post, every research station, every military outpost within 50 light-years of Earth is experiencing the same problems. Your quantum virus has spread through your entire communication network. The aliens looked at each other in horror. The implications were staggering. If the humans had infected the entire collective network, they could potentially control or destroy every collective facility in this region of space. This is an act of war, Commander Valthara said. No, Sarah replied. This is a demonstration. You demanded that humanity submit to your guidance or face correction. We are showing you what correction looks like when delivered by us. She touched another control on her wrist. The screens in the conference room changed to show different locations throughout space. HFY research stations, Mordock military outposts, Quintal exploration ships. All of them floating helplessly in space, their systems offline, their crews trapped inside. Every collective facility in this sector is now under our control, Sarah explained. We can restore their systems, or we can leave them disabled. We can allow their crews to survive, or we can shut down their life support. The choice is entirely ours. Representative Quintal stood up, her plant-like leaves trembling with fear. You would commit genocide against innocent scientists and explorers? Would we? Sarah asked. That depends entirely on what you choose to do next. Dr. HFY realized that the humans had planned this attack with terrifying precision. They had not just developed technology to match the collective, they had developed technology to surpass it. And they had used the collective's own observation network against them. What do you want? He asked. Sarah Chun walked to the window and looked out at the human fleet surrounding them. What we want is very simple. We want you to leave. All of you. Every collective ship, every observation post, every research station within 100 light years of Earth must be gone within 30 days. That is impossible, Commander Valthara protested. The Collective Council will never agree to abandon an entire sector of space. Then the Collective Council will lose every ship and station in this sector, Sarah said without emotion. Because we will not ask twice. Chief Scientist Rathmo leaned forward. Even if we agreed to leave, what guarantee do we have that you will not attack other collective territories? None, Sarah admitted. Because whether we expand beyond this sector depends entirely on how you behave after you leave. If you respect our boundaries and stay away from Earth, then we will have no reason to bother you. But if you try to return, if you try to send more observation missions, if you try to interfere with human development in any way, then we will respond. Dr. HFY felt sick as he realized the full scope of what was happening. You are not just demanding territory. You are demanding that the collective abandon its mission to guide developing civilizations. Only in this region of space, Sarah said. What you do in other parts of the galaxy is your business, but this sector belongs to humanity now. The conference room fell silent as the aliens absorbed what they were being told. For thousands of years, the collective had been the dominant power in this region. They had observed, guided, and controlled dozens of developing species. Now they were being told that their time was over. You cannot expect us to make such a decision without consulting our governments, Representative Quintal said. Sarah nodded. Of course. You have 72 hours to contact your leaders and get their response. After that time, if we have not received a formal agreement to our terms, we will begin permanently disabling collective facilities. She stood up and moved toward the door. Dr. HFY, you and your team are welcome to stay on this station while you wait for your answer. Or you can return to your ship, though I should warn you that its systems will remain offline until we receive a satisfactory response. As the humans filed out of the conference room, Dr. HFY stared at the screen showing the disabled collective facilities. In less than 3 days, humanity had accomplished what no species in collective history had ever managed. They had turned the watchers into the watched, the hunters into the hunted, and they had done it so smoothly, so efficiently, that the collective had never seen it coming. Commander, Dr. HFY said quietly, I think we have seriously underestimated these humans. Commander Valthara slumped in her chair, her 4 eyes staring at nothing. Underestimated them? Doctor, I think we may have just awakened something that will change the galaxy forever. Outside the conference room, alarms were beginning to sound. On collective worlds as reports came in of the massive system failures. The age of collective dominance was ending, and the age of humanity was about to begin. The war, if it could even be called a war, lasted only 18 days. The Collective Council's response to humanity's ultimatum was exactly what Dr. Sarah Chun had expected. They refused to abandon their territory and sent a massive fleet to reclaim their observation posts. 300 ships from 12 different worlds, carrying the most advanced weapons the Collective had ever built. The human response was swift and absolute. The Collective fleet never made it past the edge of the solar system. Human ships that seemed to appear from nowhere surrounded them. The alien vessels found their weapons offline, their engines dead, their life support systems failing. Within hours, the entire fleet was drifting helplessly in space, but humanity did not destroy the ships. Instead, they boarded them. Dr. Zeph Tai watched from Earth Station Alpha as human soldiers moved through Collective vessels with terrifying efficiency. They wore armor that seemed to bend light around it, making them nearly invisible. They carried weapons that could disable any Collective technology with a single shot. Most disturbing of all, they moved like they had been planning these exact boarding actions for decades. How did they know the layout of our ships? Chief Scientist Rathmo asked as they watched the humans navigate Kethver corridors without hesitation. They have been studying us for 50 years, Dr. Zeph Tai replied. They probably know our ships better than we do. The boarding actions were not violent. The humans simply took control of each ship, gathered the crews in central locations, and began the process of what they called educational relocation. Every Collective soldier, every scientist, every officer was given a choice: cooperate with human authority, or be permanently exiled to the outer edges of the galaxy. Most chose cooperation. Within 6 months, the entire Collective presence in the region had been dismantled. Some species, like the peaceful Quintal, were allowed to return to their home worlds with stern warnings never to return. Others, like the military-focused Mordak, found their entire fleet incorporated into human service under human commanders. The most shocking change was what happened to the observation mission itself. Dr. Zeph Tai had expected to be sent home in disgrace. Instead, he found himself sitting in a new kind of briefing room on a human-built station, looking at displays that showed dozens of primitive worlds throughout the galaxy. Dr. Zeph Tai, Dr. Sarah Chun said as she entered the room, "I hope you are settling in well to your new position." Zeph Tai looked up from the reports he was reading. "I still do not understand why you want me to continue this work. Humans clearly do not need Collective expertise to observe other species." Sarah sat down across from him. "That is where you are wrong. We need your expertise very much, but we need it for a different purpose than before." She activated the display screen, showing a world called Kepler 442b. The planet was inhabited by a species that looked somewhat like large insects. Their cities were built in massive hives, and their technology level was similar to Earth's industrial revolution. "The Zektar," Sarah explained. "A highly organized species with a strict social hierarchy. Based on our observations, they will develop spaceflight within the next 200 years. Dr. Zeph Tai studied the data. Standard development pattern. The Collective would normally wait until they achieve faster-than-light travel before making contact. The Collective would wait and watch, Sarah agreed. But humans do not wait, we prepare. The display changed to show detailed analysis of Zektar psychology, social structures, military capabilities, and technological development paths. The depth of information was staggering. Humans had been studying this species for less than 5 years, but they already knew more about them than the Collective typically learned after decades of observation. "You are not just observing them," Dr. Zeph Tai realized. "You are analyzing them for conquest." "Not conquest," Sarah corrected. "Integration. There is a difference." She brought up another display showing human agents working on the Zektar homeworld. They were disguised as primitive traders, but they were actually spreading human-designed technologies, human-influenced ideas, and human-compatible social Changes. We do not wait for species to develop naturally and then force them to choose between submission and destruction, Sarah explained. We guide their development from the beginning. By the time they achieve spaceflight, they will already be thinking like humans, using human-inspired technology, following human-compatible social structures. Dr. Zeftai felt a chill run through his body. You are not giving them a choice at all. Choice is an illusion when one option leads to prosperity and the other leads to extinction, Sarah said. We are simply making sure they choose correctly. The display showed more worlds, dozens of them. Species in various stages of development, all being subtly guided by human agents. Some were still in their equivalent of the Stone Age, being taught to use fire and metal in ways that would make them compatible with human industry. Others were on the verge of spaceflight, being given technologies that would make them dependent on human support systems. The collective took thousands of years to build their empire through observation and eventual contact, Sarah continued. Humans will build a larger empire in a fraction of that time through preparation and integration. Dr. Zeftai looked at the reports in front of him. They contained detailed psychological profiles of every species humanity was currently preparing. The depth of analysis was beyond anything the collective had ever achieved. What is my role in this? He asked. You understand how the collective thinks, how they operate, what their weaknesses are, Sarah said. Some of these species may still be contacted by surviving collective observers. We need to know how to counter their influence and ensure that our guidance is more appealing than theirs. She stood up and moved to the window, looking out at the stars. Dr. Zeftai, your collective spent millennia trying to create a peaceful galaxy through careful observation and gentle guidance. But peace through weakness is not really peace at all. It is just delayed conflict. And what is the human alternative? Dr. Zeftai asked. Peace through strength, Sarah replied. Every species in this galaxy will eventually have to choose between cooperation with humanity or irrelevance. But unlike the collective, we will make sure they want to choose cooperation. Dr. Zeftai stood up and joined her at the window. In the distance, he could see construction ships building new human installations. Weapons platforms disguised as research stations. Military bases disguised as trading posts. Communication arrays that could reach across the galaxy, carrying human influence to every corner of known space. The collective believed that advanced species should guide primitive ones for their own good, he said. We agree, Sarah said. We just believe that humans are better guides than the collective ever was. As Dr. Zeftai watched, a group of human children toured the observation center with their teacher. They were learning about the various species humanity was currently studying and preparing. To them, this was normal. This was simply how the galaxy worked. Advanced humans helped primitive aliens become better versions of themselves. The teacher pointed to the display showing the Zektar homeworld. Class, can anyone tell me what stage of development the Zektar are currently in? A young girl raised her hand. Early industrial teacher. Our cultural agents estimate they will be ready for direct contact in about 50 years. Very good, Maria. And what will happen when we make contact? They will be grateful for our guidance and want to join the human sphere of influence. The girl replied confidently. Exactly right. Just like all the other species we have helped. Dr. Zeftai realized with growing horror that the children truly believed they were helping these alien species. They had been raised to see human expansion not as conquest, but as a natural and beneficial process. To them, the idea that aliens might want to develop independently was as foreign as the idea that children might want to raise themselves without adult guidance. The collective had created an empire through force disguised as benevolence. But humanity was creating something far more dangerous, an empire through benevolence that was actually force. And the most terrifying part was that most Humans genuinely believed they were making the galaxy a better place. Dr. Zeftai, Sarah said as the children's tour moved on. You look troubled. He turned to face her. I am beginning to understand what we awakened when we decided to observe humanity. Sarah smiled. And what is that? The most successful predator the galaxy has ever seen, he replied. One that makes its prey grateful to be eaten. Sarah's smile widened. Now you are beginning to understand the human way of doing things. Outside the window, the stars seemed different somehow. No longer points of light representing unknown possibilities, but future territories in humanity's growing empire. And somewhere among those stars, primitive species were already being shaped by human influence. Never knowing that their future had been decided by creatures they had never met, the age of human dominance had begun, and it would be far more complete than anything the collective had ever imagined.